Whoa, that is all I have to say after completing INDIKA. In life, we all have our doubts. We have our low moments we wish that we could take back. We've been uncomfortable in places we thought we were welcome, and sometimes we meet a stranger who changed everything for better or sometimes for worse. That's the journey that we are about to take. What's up, folks? Today we are going to be answering the question whether or not INDIKA is worth the $25. My name is Tanner. This is For Your Money, a different kind of review. And thank you, Hannah from Evolve, for the free code. Very much appreciated. INDIKA is the story of a nun whose name is the same as the title, a nun who can't seem to do anything right by her peers, so you can imagine her surprise whenever she is told to deliver a letter outside of her monastery walls. Wanting to uphold her trust and commitment to the convent, she goes, but what awaits her will be a journey that challenges her beliefs in God, the human race, moral dilemmas, travel through the landscape not just through INDIKA's perspective, but Ilya's narrative as well. A man who claims he can talk with God. A man that believes he's the chosen one. A concept that INDIKA cannot wrap her head around. This is one of the more intense stories I think I've ever reviewed. This has the writings of A24 and Annapurna all over it. It is art house in the form of a video game, and that's not a new concept, but it is a tough one to achieve, especially whenever you want gamers to come in and experience what you made. Now, INDIKA is nothing short of an emotional roller coaster that, if it hits you at the right time in life, it's going to tear you up. It's depressing, it can be unforgiving, and sometimes it can even have a little bit of a comedic effect, but not in our natural humor sense, which can be confusing, but that's the art form. That's what they wanted. The ending is going to be the toughest part for people to grasp for two reasons. One, the ending is just not going to satisfy a lot of people. Like I said, think of A24 art house movies, and if those endings lose you, then this will too. But luckily for me, I enjoy all types of storytelling, so I dug it, which brings me to reason two. I love it because I liked what I got from the ending, but others are definitely going to get something else. In the end, I think everyone could agree to some extent on the ending, but all are going to have different routes as to how that conclusion works. Gameplay, there's not much here. It's more advanced than walking simulators like Dear Esther or Gone Home, with some of the perspective transitions and mini games that you're going to play throughout. Now, most of the video game enjoyment comes at few points that this game goes into an 8-bit mode where you play different platforming levels of INDIKA's past, and even a little Pac-Man inspired level that shows why INDIKA is where she is. Those are fun, and of course you do have a couple puzzles that you're going to do in the real world, but my issue is how bland these feel. I know what they were going for, but they're not fleshed out enough for my taste to be considered a real selling point of the game. One example would be the caviar cans. You have to move them with a machine, so all you gotta do is move one and park the machine somewhere obvious. I wish it had a couple more mini games and a bit more grit during these unravel the area parts. Overall, it's a lot of walking or biking to the next piece of story, which is fine. I like stuff like that. But if you're going to include different aspects of gameplay, which they did here, you just got to do it right. The only other issue that I had were frame drops during some of the more packed areas, such as the inner city. I'm not sure what that was about, but whenever some of the levels got a little bit more cluttered, the frames would drop, and it stayed that way until you got into a less dense area. On the surface level, INDIKA seems like a simple, realistic art style, but underneath and through progression, you're going to uncover something way more bizarre. What this game really reminded me of off the bat was Hellblade. This game does a decent amount of extreme close-ups of INDIKA showing her emotions, of the surroundings, and then we add the voice in her head, and this game's design just takes a turn for the darker side. World elements that showcase sins such as gluttony and wrath. It's a war-torn world with enough tragedy to pass around, and they made sure to show every bit of it, and we cannot forget, never forget, please, this game has one of the most eccentric and perfect soundtracks I've ever heard. For a world that's jumbled in confusion, the soundtrack displays that the best it can, and I was in love. INDIKA is not a perfect game, but it's a lot cheaper than $60. With my issues, I would still say $20 is a good price. $5 off, it's not bad, and anybody who enjoys these types of games will without a doubt have a good time with the story. Gameplay was the only issue that I had, and if you can look past that because you're a narrative type of gamer, I think you're in a good spot, so go ahead and check it out. That's all I got, folks. I will see you guys next time for my Senua Saga's Hellblade 2 review.